Lance Edwards.
Join the meeting.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Good. It's a pleasure to be on again.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. Matter of fact, I just talked to an associate of yours, Randy Lubke.
Okay, all right.
He owes you a referral fee. You guys, your office, or one of your offices, sent me the book that he and Mark Kohler did on financial freedom.
Yep.
And I read it over the weekend. It's excellent book, really, really good book. And I maybe reached out to Randy. I said, "Listen, you can help me." So I just hired him. So he owes you a referral fee.
Good. All right, that's cool.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you today on this interview about IRA LLCs.
Okay. Cool.
Can we do a session on that?
Yeah, absolutely. How long do you want to go?
30 minutes.
Okay. Cool. I can do that.
You don't look too excited. Can you do that?
No, I have to I can talk about it for 10 minutes. I can talk about it for an hour. I just like to organize my thoughts, like, all right, a 30-minute conversation, how deep to go. But you know what I mean? That's a good amount though. I think that's good.
I mean, here's some questions I was just kind of thinking of. First of all, what is an IRA LLC? Why is it important?
Yeah.
Is that, is that the same thing as a checkbook IRA? Aren't these illegal? I'm going to throw that one out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
My self-admin tells me I can't do those. Another kind of the same way of saying it.
Yep.
What are the risks? What's prohibited? What are maybe some examples, some case studies, how people are using them?
Okay.
How should a husband and wife invest in one? Because you guided me and my wife on this.
Yep.
About the limitations of how much money goes in is the ratio.
Yeah.
And then I got some general stuff. Well, can I use it to buy real estate?
Cool. All right. I like it.
Now, at the end, what do you want your call to action? How do we drive people to you, Matt?
I think there's two places. They can go to directedira.com to get the 10 frequently asked questions, top 10 frequently asked questions, which is just a easy thing on directedira.com to get to. And then, or they can go to sdirahandbook.com and get my free self-directed investor toolkit. They can also get my book there, but there's a free toolkit there that has kind of like my top videos and articles for people getting started.
All right. We'll give both of those out. Good. I'll put them on the show notes too.
Cool.
All right. Any other questions or comments for me?
No. How's the podcast going?
It's going good. We're ramping it back up again, and I got kind of lazy on it. And
it's a labor of
hopefully
love.
I'm driving. Oh man, it's you got to drive traffic to it and all that stuff. And and so I'm going to do a podcast with Randy here at the end of the month.
Okay.
And Mark Kohler as well.
Okay.
Because it's just great stuff you guys are doing. I mean, it's just really great stuff. You can get the word out on it. Yeah.
You're the type of client, when we first met, I was like, you're a typical client for us. Like the really good client, the person who's already doing it, who's got assets, who's not just like someone buying their first rental, but they're also not like at the big law firm, that they get treated like crap. So we cater basically to you as a type of client, like you're a typical client.
Yeah. And that's what Randy basically said, the same thing. And one more thing before we get started, thank you for the guidance on opening my account over at Wells Fargo, that IRA LLC account. Boy, it threw them in a tizzy, man. They didn't know what to do. And
I was surprised.
What do you mean your IRA owns it? Oh my God.
Yeah. I tell clients, just go open up an LLC business account. Don't even say anything about IRA, because they're going to get confused.
She was lost, and I knew they would be. I just want to make sure it didn't backfire on me.
Yeah.
Tax wise, but they showed me my EIN for the LLC was in there. I said, fine, we're done. See ya.
Yeah.
We're set up.
Cool.
All right. So, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Well, hello everyone. Hi, it's Lance Edwards. Welcome to this edition of Greenlight REI, where we teach you the successful real estate lifestyle. And we got a special guest. Actually, he's come back for a second appearance here with us, Mr. Matt Sorensen. And he's speaking to us today on more in-depth on self-directed IRAs. And I got to tell you some of Matt's credentials, because he's got a deep background. He's really, really super qualified on this. First of all, he has written what I consider the authoritative book on self-directed IRAs called the Self-Directed IRA Handbook. And I got to admit, I'm embarrassed. I don't have a copy here on the desk because I own about 2 of them. So I can show you what it looks like, because I've read this thing multiple times. But it's a self-directed IRA handbook. It covers everything. We're talking about some of that today. He's also CEO, has his own self-directed IRA custodial company called Directed IRA, and Directed Trust Company. He's CEO of that. So he's practicing what he preaches and helping out people with their IRAs. And also, in addition to that, he's an attorney on the subject. When you're going to love his book, he covers the case law of what's going on here. And so he comes from a multifaceted background. So it's an absolute joy. Matt, welcome to Greenlight REI.
Hey, man. I got to have you come around and be my hype man or something. That's a good intro. Well, it's a pleasure to be back. And as long as we're talking about self-directed IRAs, I admit I'm pretty good. If we get off topic, you don't want to know what I think. So I'm going to stick to self-directed IRAs.
And now, Matt, the last time we had you, on here, we covered kind of I'll call it the 30,000 foot view of self-directed IRAs. And so I want to drill down in one area that I find fascinating. And I got to tell everyone right now, I'm one of Matt's clients. I'll tell you right now, that's why I can certainly endorse bringing him back here. But the area is this area of IRA LLCs, otherwise known as, I guess, checkbook IRAs. Yeah. And so, I want to talk about that with people today because, what I discovered in working with you, there's a lot of misperceptions, confusion, outright falsehoods being populated throughout the industry. So I want to set the record straight here. So we're going to talk about IRA LLCs. And so first of all, what is an IRA LLC?
Yeah, great question. Now, these are very commonly used in real estate. So for Lance or a lot of your listeners with a real estate background or doing real estate investing, it's very commonly used for real estate investments with a self-directed IRA. So, but what an IRA LLC is, so when you have a self-directed IRA, what happens is that IRA owns the assets. So let's say you have an IRA with us at Directed Trust Company, and I want to buy stock in a startup, or I want to buy precious metals. Those are really easy for me to just put your IRA's name on that asset. And Directed Trust Company, FBO, Lance Edwards IRA, right? And it owns 10 shares in the next hot startup, or it owns a bunch of precious metals in some depository. But when you want to do a real estate deal and you want to put Directed Trust Company, FBO, Lance Edwards IRA on the contract to buy a property, and then on the closing documents, and then you want to send earnest money, and then you got to pay utilities, and then you're paying the contractor. Well, I'm the custodian of your IRA. You have to tell me to do all that, and you got to put the IRA name on it. And so it's a lot of paperwork and back and forth with your IRA custodian, whoever it is, to just get them to do stuff. And so for real estate clients, it's kind of become a pain. Now, some people still do it, and you can use property managers once you own a property that can minimize some of this. But a lot of real estate investors in particular like it because rather than the IRA owning the asset, the IRA owns an LLC 100%. The LLC in turn owns the property. And you get to be manager of the LLC, manage the bank account, sign off on the LLC's transactions. We can go over that. But that's the basics of the IRA LLC is there's an IRA still, but it owns an LLC. LLC in turn owns the real estate, and you're able to manage the LLC.
All right, so let me break this down. So let's say a real estate investor created, ABC LLC.
Yeah.
The owner or the member of the LLC is their IRA.
Correct. Yep.
John Smith's IRA owns that LLC, and John Smith could be the manager of that LLC.
Exactly. And on the documents, it's going to say Directed Trust Company for us, Directed Trust Company, FBO, John Smith IRA. And that's the ownership. It's on the membership certificate. When there's profit distributed or money was going to be coming out, it's got to go back to the IRA. John Smith doesn't own the LLC. His IRA does. But John Smith is manager of the LLC. And manager of an LLC is like president of the corporation, right? It's the person who has signing authority. They don't necessarily own it, but they have signing authority. They can manage the LLC's bank account. Because what's going to happen is John Smith's going to go to his IRA custodian and say, all right, I want to invest $100,000 from my IRA into this LLC, XYZ Investments LLC. What did we call it?
I just called it ABC, but that's fine. ABC LLC.
Investments LLC. Okay. I want to make sure you get the money in the right place. Okay. So $100,000 goes to ABC Investments LLC, and the IRA custodian, we would just wire it, or we'd cut a check written out to ABC Investments LLC. John Smith goes into a bank, sets up an LLC business checking account, deposits the cash in there, and now as the manager of the LLC on the documents, he's going to be an authorized signer. The bank adds him as an authorized signer. When he goes to a title company to buy the property, or he's just doing the purchase contract, John Smith signing as manager of the LLC. And the LLC's name's on everything now. It's not the IRA anymore. The LLC's on the contract to buy. The LLC's going to be on the title. The LLC is going to get the rental income. The LLC is going to pay the expenses, cut checks or use a debit card, however they're going to do it.
That's true, because you can actually have a debit card be paying expenses on behalf of the LLC, correct?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we don't like credit cards. So if you have the IRA LLC, don't get a credit card or line of credit because they usually attach it to your personal credit or your social, and that causes what's called an extension of credit privilege transaction. But debit card's totally cool. Obviously, checking account's fine.
All right, so let's break this example. Again, we had John Smith, IRA, or directed trust, FBO for benefit of John Smith, IRA, had $100,000 in it. He would create ABC Investments LLC checking account. He would direct your company, directed trust, to transfer $100,000 into the checking account of the LLC, and now John Smith, as the manager, has checkbook control of those funds.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why it's called a checkbook IRA, I imagine. Is that why?
Yeah, a lot of people kind of nickname that the checkbook control IRA. And what that is those two things. We call it an IRA LLC, but it's an IRA and it's an LLC that has a checkbook.
Right.
And so, but that LLC, one thing I'll say on that is the documents on an LLC are a little unique. It's not a regular LegalZoom LLC or one you can just do on the state website. It does take a pretty specific operating agreement that every IRA custodian who does IRA LLCs, and we can talk about, there's some that don't, but any IRA custodian that does an IRA LLC is going to have their compliance department review the documents of the LLC to make sure it was done for an IRA and it's not just a regular LLC. So now we do them in my law firm, KQS Lawyers. I frankly train other lawyers. I'm going to Boston in a couple weeks to train over 1,000 lawyers. They use our documents as part of a document system. So there's other lawyers that do it. So, but you want to make sure the documents are done right. Otherwise, if you do the LLC yourself, or you have your lawyer that doesn't know what an IRA LLC is, do it, it's going to get rejected, and then you got to start over. So.
Let's speak to this topic, because I would say this IRA LLC, as I was saying up front, I don't know if you call it a controversial, but there's a lot of misperceptions, miscommunication. Yeah. Some people will tell you it's not even legal to do these IRA LLCs. You do a great job treating it in your book, but share with our listeners, what are the facts on this, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, there's some differences of opinion, and there have been for a long time, but we've been doing them in our office since 2005. I've never had a client have an issue with it. We've set up thousands, tens of thousands of them probably. But they have to be done right. That's the key. There are a lot of cases on IRA LLCs that are in my book. There's IRS guidance on it. There's IRS chief counsel memorandums. There's a lot of info on the structure. And in what happens in those cases where people have got screwed up is they did something wrong. For example, one of the more popular cases is called Ellis versus Commissioner. This is a guy, Ellis, who essentially had an IRA LLC, and he was paying himself a salary to be the manager of the LLC. So his IRA owned it. He was the manager, as the structure goes, but he was taking like $30,000 a year to be the manager. Well, that's a prohibited transaction under the rules. You can't pay yourself from your IRA or your IRA LLC. It's kind of like getting around a distribution. So that caused a prohibited transaction. Now, the IRA LLC documents need to restrict that. That's one thing that would be restricted in the LLC documents when you set it up. Now, some custodians, there's a couple reasons why some IRA custodians will not allow you to do it, like Equity Trust, Quest IRA, Millennium Trust. Those are kind of the three that are big out there that don't allow them. But there's about 25 IRA custodians. Most of them allow an IRA LLC as long as an attorney has set it up or consulted in the setup. Some don't require an attorney to be involved. About half do that do an IRA LLC. But there's about three big ones that are just like, we won't let you do an IRA LLC at all. And I'll tell you, there's really two reasons why they don't want you to do it. Well, there's three reasons why. One is some of these companies have been around for 20, 25 years, and this is not their system. They don't want to do it that way. They've been saying you can't do it for 20 years. They haven't been reading the cases or don't care. They're just stuck on the same policy. They don't want to change. That's one reason for some of the older custodians, quite honestly. The second reason is people screw up IRA LLCs. Some people will set them up, throw money in it, and treat it like their own personal bank account. That's not okay. That's like sacred money in the IRA LLC bank account. It's your IRA money. You don't own it. Your IRA does. You're manager of it, but you can't just like cut yourself checks or buy yourself a car. That's going to blow up your IRA. So some custodians don't like it because it's kind of like putting a loaded gun in your hand. And some people can be, responsible gun owners. Some people can't. And so For us though, and our policy is like, it's your money. At the end of the day, you screw it up, it's all on you. So if you want that flexibility and freedom, you're going to live with the consequences. So that's really why we allow it. Now I'll say the last reason some IRA custodians don't like you to do it is when you have a self-directed IRA, a lot of times you're going to leave a lot of cash with your IRA custodian. IRA custodians make money on cash sitting in their accounts that you're not using. When you use an IRA LLC, you dump all the cash into your LLC's bank account. And now the bank that has your LLC bank account makes all the money on your uninvested cash. So that's a big business reason why a lot of them say you can't do it or don't want you to do it, is because they lose a lot of cash, which is a big revenue stream for IRA custodians.
Fair enough.
Just
fair
being
enough.
honest.
So,
the honest answer.
yeah, no, I fair enough, because the main thing, and from a user or a client standpoint, is this avoiding the prohibited transactions. So this thing doesn't go from being tax deferred or tax free to all of a sudden now you've got to pay back taxes and you're being audited. And
exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about this. Now, this is more in general terms. What is allowed and what is prohibited? What are the guidelines? What are the rules here, Matt?
Yeah. So when you're managing your IRA LLC, which that's what you're typically going to do when you set it up, what you can do is administrative and investment oversight tasks. So, your administrative investment oversight would be like managing the bank account, paying the bills. Maybe it's a rental, you're screening the tenants, you're signing the contracts, you're checking on whether rent's been paid. You're even going to the property if you're into that and looking at it and making sure a contractor's doing the work, right? So that stuff's all okay. But there is a line where you have some prohibited transaction issues in terms of being involved personally if you start providing physical labor on the property. Like let's say you're handy and you want to remodel the kitchen in the property that your IRA LLC owns. That would become a prohibited transaction for you to provide physical services. Administrative stuff, paperwork, decision-making, investment decisions, checking on, don't worry, you can do that all day long. Physical work, though, crosses the line.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple other problem areas, but one would be, keep in mind, you're only buying, in the real estate world, you're only buying investment real estate. Okay, you're not buying a residence or a second home that you're going to use. You're not buying, a rental property your kids are going to stay in or whatever. Okay, this is a investment property. You can't have personal use, or your disqualified family members, they can't use it either. It's held strictly for investment.
And that's great. And what I've always understood, and tell me if I'm correct here, is certainly if I'm going to use my IRA LLC to buy a fiveplex, and I can do the administrative things you want on, but certainly I put a management company in place. So that also kind of removes me from the day-to-day. I'm an investment manager, not a property manager. And that provides a level of insulation as well, correct?
Absolutely. And that's helpful, particularly on like a fiveplex or multifamily properties. You're generally going to want a property manager. But you can still, even if you were into that, and you wanted to do the paperwork and oversight and still have a maintenance person maybe do the repairs and stuff, you could. But it is most common that property management example is going to be in place on a multifamily.
All right. Well, I teach that anyway. Don't get into self-management. Figure out spend your time, figure out where to put your IRA money. That's what you spend your time on.
I know. You know what's funny is my rental properties, I own rentals, and I also say I do this myself. Okay. So I own real estate outside my IRA. I own it in my retirement account. I have an IRA LLC. I do. So like I eat the food that I serve, I'm not just, out selling crap. I do this myself. So, but the rental properties I love are the ones I have property managers on. The ones that I am like, oh, that property, guess what? Those are the ones I manage.
I've lived it. That's why I can share this. Yeah. So, all right. So that's great. So we talked about using it in real estate, owning real estate. What about wholesaling? What about flipping contracts? How could an IRA LLC be used here? Yeah,
you could do that. We've had clients do that quite a bit over the years. I have a lot of clients that do that. I actually have a lot of real estate developer clients in particular that we use Roth IRAs. to get options on contracts that they're going to hold for a few years, kind of pre-development property, and they'll sell the option. I mean, one of my very first clients, I don't know if I shared this last time we were on, but this is what convinced me that this should be my area of focus as a lawyer back, was 13 years ago, was I had a client use a Roth IRA to get an option on real estate. The Roth IRA bought it for 10 grand. It had rights to buy it at a certain price, about 400,000 in a 5-year window. And by 3 years into this, the property was worth over $1.5 million. So he sold the option for $1 million profit, $10,000 investment in his Roth IRA. That gain went all back into his Roth IRA, totally tax-free. And I was like, whoa, this is a really successful real estate developer. And of course he was stoked. He's like, wow, I would have kept half of this, maybe 2/3 of it if I did this outside my Roth IRA, but I'm going to be able to keep all of it. And so you can do options. The one thing you got to be careful about, though, on the real estate side, on in terms of what to do and not do, options are cool, even wholesaling a contract here and there, but you don't want to be considered a developer or have your IRA be considered in the business of real estate. Like if you're doing a real estate development with your IRA, or even if your IRA flips a lot of properties in a year, you can run into a tax called UBTI or UBIT. And this is a tax that IRA has to pay if it gets business income as opposed to investment income. And so that's one trap area. I've got a whole chapter in my book on it. But you can still flip properties. I have clients that'll flip a property or two a year, and you don't need to worry about that. But if your IRA is doing so much real estate short-term deals or development, it can run into this little tax trap called UBIT. So just be careful if you're doing a lot of short-term deals.
All right, good stuff. Very good. Very good. Very good. And now I'm looking here because you taught me this. Let's say I got a scenario here. Got a husband.
Yeah.
Husband has an IRA. Wife has her own IRA. And they've listened to this podcast. They want to create an IRA LLC. And let's say the husband has $100,000 in his IRA and she has 50 in her IRA. Talk about what the limitations and different options people have in that scenario. Okay.
Great question. So the common IRA LLC is we just have one IRA. Well, I should say the most common is one IRA owns an LLC 100%. And that one's easiest. It's the most straightforward. It's called a single member LLC for tax purposes. You don't file a tax return. So if it's just like, my IRA owns an LLC 100%, I don't got to file a tax return to the IRS for the LLC. I may just pay some fees to the state to keep it active, but it's pretty easy to do and administer. Now, we can pair up spouses' IRAs into one LLC. So we could take that example of husband IRA 100,000, wife's IRA 50,000, and put them into one LLC. And husband's IRA would own 2/3 of the LLC because it put in 100. Spouse's IRA, wife's IRA would own 1/3 because it puts in 50. And it could be 50-50, it could be 80-20. It's just going to be whatever the dollars are going in between husband and wife IRA. We're going to break up the ownership based on that. So now that's a good structure so long as you want to combine the funds to invest together. Like, for example, let's say the husband and wife had a property they wanted to buy that was 150. They had to put the money together, In that case, I would say let's do we call this a multi-member LLC as opposed to single member where one IRA owns and single member. Multi-member, more than one IRA owns the LLC. And we break up the ownership based on dollars invested. We do that if we need both sets of funds to come in. The other option husband and wife could do is they could say, well, husband does his IRA LLC, wife does her IRA LLC, and they're investing in separate stuff. They're not going together necessarily. Some people do that because it's easier and they kind of do their own thing. There's no tax return on those. But if you do multi-member, the pro is, of course, we combine funds, but there's a couple cons to it, right? Like you have to do a tax return now. This LLC has more than one owner. The IRS is going to want a tax return. 2 IRAs own it. Even though it's husband and wife, it's a partnership. The IRS wants a tax return. Now that there's no tax due, it's just a partnership tax return, but it is a filing the LLC will have to do. The other kind of con to the multi-member is, let's say it was the 2/3, 1/3. Husband IRA put in 2/3, wife's IRA put in 1/3. And we have to do it together when we form it at the very beginning. Let's say 6 months later, they need $10,000 more in the LLC. There's some unexpected repair on a property. And let's say husband's IRA has the money, but wife's doesn't. Well, we can't get that 10 grand in. If I'm going to put more money in the LLC, I have to follow the ownership percentages. If we need 10 grand, 6,666 bucks is going to come from husband's. 3,333 is going to come from wife's, right? You have to keep those percentages the same from when you start. So it can be a little clunky sometimes if you're trying to put more money in as you go, or you need more money. But it's a great structure to combine two people's accounts to buy specific assets. And I've had clients, and particularly in the multifamily space, we have clients, it's husband's account, wife's account, kids account, grandkid Roth IRAs. They throw a Coverdale in, they got an HSA. There's like 8 accounts in this thing by the end, but then it's got 600 grand in it, and they go and buy a multifamily property, and they kind of combine all their resources.
They combine it into one LLC.
Yeah, one LLC. Yeah, and the kid's Coverdale account might own 1% of it, but because it's got hardly any money in it, and grandma and grandpa's IRAs might own the most, or whoever it is, but you can combine multiple accounts, even friends or brothers and sisters, again, spouses. We do quite a bit of those.
All right. So we've laid the groundwork. IRA LLC, important tool, certainly in real estate for all the reasons you were saying, Matt. And you gave an example a moment about somebody use their Roth IRA to buy an option. Are there any other case studies that can kind of whet the appetite, let people see whether it's an IRA LLC or just a regular IRA? Are there some of the case studies from your experience or your clients that you can help people kind of visualize how they should be using their IRAs? Because I imagine most people sitting on IRAs doing nothing with it right now.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk to so many clients, and we're not investment advisors or anything. I mean, I invest in real estate myself, but we get so many people that are like, how's the market up yet my account seems to not be up? Like the market's up 10%, but my account's up 2%. I'll say, well, there's a lot of other people making money on your account right now besides just you. So in real estate, what I'll say is I tell clients, invest in what you know. That's kind of our thing. And I speak to a lot of real estate professionals and investors and groups, and I'll commonly ask, like, who knows a good mutual fund right now? No one in the room will raise their hand. Who knows a good real estate deal in the room? Half the people in the room raise their hand. They're either real estate professionals or investors. They've seen a deal recently. They're like, that's a good deal. Right? That's a good investment opportunity. And then I ask them, how many of your retirement accounts are invested in mutual funds? 2/3 of the room's hands go up. So, they're just kind of like, it's the path of least resistance, right? You set up an account with the broker dealer, you click some buttons, it buys a mutual fund. It was easy. But, when you got $10,000, $20,000 in there, that might be the route to go. But eventually I think people, and particularly the baby boomers, have been like, wow, I've got $400,000 in this account, and I'm still treating it like this account. I don't pay much attention to it. I don't even know the mutual funds I own, and I don't like them. I don't even know the fees. You know what I mean? And so now it's like, well, do you know a good real estate deal? Yeah, I know a good real estate deal. Okay, well, let's invest in what you know. And so that's kind of why I think this topic's taken off, why it's very popular in real estate in particular, in using self-directed IRAs. The thing is, it's this making it convenient and understandable. There are some roadblocks to it. It's going to take a little more work than just clicking some buttons and buying a mutual fund. But I think it's fun, frankly. And a lot of real estate people who already buy real estate or are investors outside their retirement account are a perfect fit for it, because they already know the game. Now they just got to pair the retirement account rules and how you use that into the real estate knowledge they already have.
Well, and frankly, that's why I went the IRA LLC route, is because, there's some work up front to set it up, get all that. But then once it's done, it's done. Now I can run it like a business. I can just run it like any other business. Like
how you normally do real estate, you're just not, you're building the account. Most real estate investors aren't taking a salary off their LLCs anyways, it's just, you're building up the long-term value. And the other thing I'll note too is there's $9 trillion in IRAs. There's 28 trillion total dollars in retirement accounts. So even if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't know about IRAs. Well, there's a lot of money out there in IRAs to fund deals. A lot of people use IRA LLCs, and we've had a lot of clients over the years, a structure where they're kind of the real estate syndicator, for lack of a better word. They're the work partner in a deal, and they may take a piece of an LLC, but they've got 2 or 3 IRAs that are funding it, and they're the cash partners. And we'll do a little partnership IRA LLC for that structure to go buy an apartment building or to do a fix and flip property, wherever the strategy is going to be. And so there's lots of variations on how the IRA LLC can be used, and how, even if you're not thinking about your own retirement accounts, but like, I do real estate deals, you might want to know about an IRA LLC. How can you bring in this 27 or $8 trillion out there and get those people's dollars invested in your deals and just some partnerships? I mean, you could do a fund and do something bigger, but just even in some little partnership deals.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Matt, this has been super. Now, I know you got some great resources to share with our listeners, how they can, learn more about this, how they could get plugged in with you and your business. So can you share some of those resources?
Yeah, my pleasure. If you go to directedira.com, that's where we set up our IRA accounts. There's a top 10 frequently asked questions, and I've really tried to distill this down to the top 10 things we get asked and that are really important that someone knows who's new to the game. So if you go to directedira.com, you'll find that. Now, I'll say this too. I'll throw this out. If anyone sets up a new account, you can use a promo code Sorensen100, SORENSEN 100. That'll get you $100 off a new account setup. Just for the Lance Edwards crew, those listeners. And so that's one place you can go. The other place is SDIRAhandbook.com. SDIRA for self-directed IRA, SDIRAhandbook.com. That's the site for my website and where I blog. I have a lot of video content. I have a free investor toolkit there, and you can sign up for the newsletter I have with my partner, Mark J. Kohler. And but that's got all of my video, top blog articles for new people to get started. It has a webinar or 2 in there too, and it's a free resource. You just put your email in and you get access to it.
All right, so everyone, I'll put this in the show notes as well. So we've got 2 resources here. directedira.com. Go there and look for the top 10 frequently asked questions and get yourself an account set up. Sorensen 100. Sorensen 100, get $100 off your setup fee. Yeah. And you want to get this book, by the way, Self-Directed IRA Handbook. You can get it on this webpage too. You can go to SDIRA Handbook, right, Matt?
Yep. Or you can get it on Amazon too, and it's in Kindle version. Also, I'm recording the audio. It's a labor of love. There you go. Man. Yeah, so that'll be out maybe.
Yeah, I did that. It is late. Yeah, I done that. So, SDIRAhandbook.com. And there's a lot of video content. Matter of fact, as I recall, one of these sites, you've got some video content on IRA LLC topic by itself, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. SDIRAhandbook.com. There's a couple videos there, a blog article or 2 on it. In my book, of course, there's a couple chapters even on it.
Yeah.
They're very extensive and have all the cases. As an attorney, I approach this from I'm advising a client. I want to know, I'm not just selling you something or some, I'm not some just guy out there saying, hey, you can do this. Like, I researched it, and so I provide all the detail and cases and IRS guidelines on it in the book.
And I'm telling everyone, you got to get the book. It is the most authoritative, comprehensive source that I've read. And I read it 2 or 3 times. And and Matt's right. He's got the case law in there. Here's what the IRS claimed. Here's what came down the ruling. Here's why you can do it. It's a lot of whole sections on real estate. So you want to get that book. And then when you get ready to set up, if your IRA LLC, Matt's your one-stop shop, because you're going to put your IRA account with directed IRA and directed trust. He'll take care of that as a custodian. And then on the attorney side, he'll create that operating agreement. He'll create your LLC for you. It's going to have a special operating agreement for the IRA LLC. Make sure you stay inside the stripes on that one. That's what he did for me.
Yep.
So, Matt, this has been fabulous. Any final words of wisdom or thoughts you might want to share with our listeners?
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is just take control of your retirement. If you're not, someone else is, and they ain't doing it for your best interests. So take control of those dollars, be proactive about it. As I said before, invest in what you know. Just get educated on it. I got so much free stuff on my website You can Google around on it. Just be careful. Get to people that have some credentials behind their name. Get educated on it. And like I said, just get out there and take control. Let us know where we can be a resource.
Perfect. Again, we'll put this on the show notes, directedira.com. Enter Sorensen 100. SDIRAhandbook.com. Go get that book right now. So, Matt, it's been great. Thank you so much. And for everyone, thank you for joining us here on Greenlight REI. And to go to the show notes, the archives, go to greenlightreinvesting.com. Get these free resources, a lot more free stuff, and get the archives. Matt, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lance. My pleasure.
All right, everyone. Take care. Until next time. Bye. All right.
Okay.
That was great, man. That was
cool.
great.
And say, thanks for having me on, Lance, or something, something like that.
Perfect. We'll do it. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that was great stuff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lance. Take care.
Talk to you later. Okay. Bye-bye.